everyone, so today we're going to look at the East Side Gallery, which is painted on the remnants of the Berlin Wall in Germany, and we're going to have a brief look as well at the wall murals of Northern Ireland. So the first thing we're going to do today is just give you a brief overview of, the history of the Berlin Wall and why it was built. So after World War II, Germany was divided into two separate countries, really. East Germany became a communist country under the control of the Soviet Union, and at the same time West Germany was a democratic country and it was allied with Britain, France and the United States. Now the initial plan was the country would eventually be reunited, but this didn't happen for a very long time. Berlin was the capital of Germany, and even though it was located in the eastern half of the country, the city was controlled by four major powers. So they were the Soviet Union, the United States, Britain, and France. And as the people in East Germany began to realize that they did not want to live under the rule of the Soviet Union and communism, this was because they were living in the East, where their lifestyle was highly controlled and they had very little personal freedom. The Stasi, also known as the secret police, conducted phone taps and they monitored people for any sign of disloyalty. And people became really disillusioned with this and didn't want to live under this level of control, and they started to leave the eastern part of the country and move to the west. These people were labelled defectors, and because so many people were leaving the east in Berlin, the Soviets and the East German leaders sought to gain back control. So what they did was, in August 1961, they built a wall around Berlin to prevent people from leaving. And at first the wall was just kind of a barbed wire fence, and later it was rebuilt with concrete blocks to prevent people from escaping. If you'd like to know more about the Berlin Wall, BBC4 made a really fantastic podcast called Tunnel 29, and it explores the true story of an escape tunnel that was dug underneath. There's many stories of very daring escapes that people conducted to try and get out of East Berlin. I'll post a link to a video as well that explores in detail why the Berlin Wall was built and how it was brought down as well. The Berlin Wall was brought down on November 9th, 1989, and the cement segments that remain have stood as something more symbolic than just a wall. During the years that the Berlin Wall was erected, graffiti covered only the west side of the wall, but the east side was completely bare due to its inaccessibility. This adds more significance to the East Side Gallery, which has murals strictly on the east side, something that was never ever before possible. Here's an example of a quote that I like from a piece of graffiti that was painted on the wall. "Forget not the tyranny of this wall, nor the love of freedom that made it fall." Take a couple of minutes to look at this quote and maybe think about how it makes you feel or what it makes you think of, and write it down into your sketchbook. So the East Side Gallery is one of Berlin's most historic landmarks and has been turned into an artistic landmark. The East Side Gallery is understood as a monument to the fall of the Berlin Wall and the peaceful negotiation of borders and conventions between societies and people. It has more than 3 million visitors per year, and if you ever find yourself in Berlin, I strongly encourage you to go and see it. The Southgate Gallery is an open-air gallery in Berlin, and it stands at 1,316 metres long. It has official status as a heritage protected landmark, and the gallery consists of 105 paintings by artists from all over the world. It was painted in 1990. I'm going to show you a brief video of parts of the wall that I saw when I visited Berlin. And I'm going to highlight 3 of my personal favourite murals. So the first one we're going to look at is Dmitry Rubel's Fraternal Kiss. He painted it in 7 days. Fraternal means of or like a brother or brothers. In relation to the artist, he's never actually touched any of the royalties for this artwork, but he believes that the fame that it brought him is priceless, and he still lives in Berlin today. The mural itself features a kiss between communist leaders Leonid Brezhnev and Erich Honecker. The mural is titled "My God, Help me to survive this deadly love. And the artist Rubel has stated that the painting the mural was a reflection of the troubles that he was experiencing in his own love life. And he said, to the image of love, we can sometimes find ourselves stuck between the lips of monsters. And I find this particularly interesting because on the face of it, one mightn't guess that there's anything really personal about this mural. You might just think it's purely political. And what I also thought was interesting as an example to bring up in light of the COVID-19 pandemic as well, whereby the idea of greeting someone by kissing them on the cheek or even like shaking their hand has become almost alien right now. If you'd like to share your thoughts on any of this, I'd really like to hear what you guys think, and I'm going to pop up a Padlet link on Schoology, so after the video, pop on there and I'll write up a few prompt questions to get the conversation going as well. Another mural that I really like is called It Happened in November. It's by a German-Iranian painter called Kani Alavi, and it's an abstract painting inspired by Alavi's own observations from his former apartment near Checkpoint Charlie. Now, Checkpoint Charlie has a long history as an American military stronghold during the Cold War, and it was situated right in the centre of the city, so in the American part of Berlin. It depicts the day the wall fell, with thousands of East German faces pouring through into the West. The faces show a range of different emotions in an effort to show the mixture of confusion and joy and fear and liberation that would have been felt by the East Germans who finally were free to head over into the West. Okay, so the final mural that we're going to look at today is called Diagonal Solution to a Problem. It's by Mikhail Serebryakov, and it shows a thumb being held up by a chain in order to keep it positive in a thumbs up position. The artwork is shown to depict the forceful nature of East German government's attempts to preserve communist ideas and to quash dissenting voices. So just a couple of honourable mentions there before we close up on the Eastgate Gallery murals. This one's called 7 Stages of Enlightenment, and it's by Dr. Narinder Kumar Jain. This one's called Watchmen of Computers by Cesar Olegaru. And finally then, this one's called Pneumo-Humanoids by Jens Helge Dahlmann. So, as we've already seen in the Mexican murals we looked at last week, and those painted on the remnants of the Berlin Wall, murals can express feelings and events of a city or a people or even a space that's been divided. Murals can be described as a mirror of political change, and it could be suggested that Berlin and the cities in Northern Ireland such as Belfast and Derry are connected. Their walls are memorials. They display important historic, social and political developments. So for example, in Northern Ireland, their walls have become symbols of Northern Ireland. They show the region's past and present political as well as their religious divisions. And while I'm not going to dive into the history of this region so much, I will identify the themes and the functions of some of the Irish Republican murals and the murals painted in Unionist communities. I feel like it's important to point out as well that not all murals in Northern Ireland are directly political or sectarian in nature. Some of them commemorate events such as the Irish famine and others moments in Irish history. Many even portray Irish mythology. Images from Irish myths are often incorporated into political murals there, and a few murals completely avoid the topic of Ireland altogether, and they just focus on neutral subjects such as the prevention of litter, or there's a beautiful one that commemorates the C.S. Lewis novel The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. In Derry, there's a mural that depicts the 5 characters from the TV show Derry Girls as well. So murals representing peace and tolerance are becoming increasingly popular with school groups who have children sometimes design or actually paint the murals themselves around their schools, which is really nice. With many paramilitaries now involved in community work, there's also been a move to decommission many of the hard-edged murals across Northern Ireland. If you're interested to learn more about that idea, I'm going to share an article from the Irish Times. I'll post a link on Schoology if you want to read more about it. For years, the murals in Northern Ireland have been used as territorial markers, as a way of showing that an area was either Republican or Unionist. Historically, they were more of a unionist cultural practice, and they were used to celebrate historic events like the William of Orange victory over the Battle of Boyne, and then there's a recent one then of the Royal Wedding, and this type of mural is a celebration of British culture, and it's used by unionist communities to affirm their British identity, whereas the Republican murals, they're much more recent, and before the Troubles, Republican culture was kind of kept out of the public sphere because I guess they didn't want to admit that there were areas of Northern Ireland in which British rule was challenged. This changed, however, in the 1980s, and the Republican movement began to use murals as an aspect of their political campaign alongside military efforts, and mural painting became an effective way to reach a large audience. This one of King William of Orange, it was painted in 1908. It's in Belfast. It's a unionist mural. It commemorates the Battle of the Boyne, which occurred on the 1st of July 1690, when King William III, also known as King William of Orange, defeated King James II in a struggle over the English crown. And this battle has been celebrated by the Orange Order, which is a Protestant organisation, on the 12th of July. And the 12th would be a high point on the Unionist calendar to today, and they have marches. It's a public holiday in Northern Ireland as well. This is an example of a Republican mural. It features Bobby Sands, a leader of the Provisional IRA. He was a prisoner serving a 14-year prison sentence, and he, I guess, spearheaded a hunger strike with other Republican prisoners. While he was on strike, he ran for a spot in Parliament, and he actually won. And his eventual death, as well as the death of 9 other prisoners from starvation, kind of sparked an outcry and convinced the IRA's political wing that it had a shot in the political arena, and today dozens of Republican murals commemorate the hunger strike of 1981. This mural is rich with symbolism, so if you take, for example, the broken chains, which symbolise freedom, there's also a bird at the bottom. It's a lark, and it's a symbol used to represent Bobby Sands in that he would use the lark as a symbol in a lot of his writings and also as a pseudonym. And then you have the black bird-like figure at the top as well, which gives a suggestion of perhaps a phoenix rising from the ashes, which again is another symbol of freedom. This is a mural which was painted in 2007. It records a time when the British Army closed its military operation in Northern Ireland, ending the longest deployment of troops in British military history. At the height of the Troubles, there is about 27,000 soldiers occupying this region. So it's easy to see how this mural is documenting a very significant change. So that's all I have time for today. Thank you all so much for listening. I'm just going to direct you now to the Padlet link on Schoology and the classwork in the assignment tab as well. Thanks very much.